Hello, welcome. My name is Ria and I am the founder of Ballet Fusion. I'm here actually to talk to you about PGP or pelvic girdle pain today. I am 18 months post-birth. I had made this video when I was just about 3 months post-birth. But I had a baby in the background. I never got time to edit it properly. I'm starting again from scratch. So hopefully this one will actually make it on to YouTube. But I want to talk to you a little bit about PGP because it's apparently, according to the statistics that I've read, it can affect 1 in 5 pregnant women, which is a huge number when you think about it. But it's actually currently pretty kind of almost ignored, certainly by the NHS here in the UK. It's not super well understood. There's so much different information about it when you look online. So I thought, and to tell you a little bit about my experience, I'm also going to pass on some exercises that my brilliant physiotherapist gave to me during my pregnancy to help alleviate the PGP symptoms a little bit. So I'm going to put some chapter markers in this video. So if you want to skip straight to the exercises, please go on to the chapters, just skip ahead and you can do the exercises along with me today and hopefully they will help. What I would say before we go any further is everyone is different. Everyone's experience of PGP is totally different. Some people it's quite minor, for some people it's quite severe, so you really do need to listen to your body. Obviously, as you go through pregnancy, everything changes on an almost daily basis, so what works for you today might not necessarily even work for you next week. So please make sure that you listen to your body, adapt anything, and just absolutely don't do anything that causes more pain than you're already in. That's not what the goal of this video is for at all. So I suffered quite severe PGP actually from about 5 months into my pregnancy, which was gutting because I had 4 months of horrible morning sickness. I felt amazing for about 2 weeks and then the PGP came on and it just got worse and worse and worse right through until the minute my waters broke, at which point actually the pain disappeared quite significantly. So it was like the weight of the fluid inside me that was aiding the PGP and making it a little bit worse. But I am a ballet dancer, I'm a ballet teacher, so I'm very flexible. I am what they call hyper flexible, which means my joints, if you look at my arms, I'm actually like over flexy. So rather than stopping at straight, my joints all go a little bit past straight and bend the other way. And while that's amazing for flexibility when I'm dancing, it's really not so great for flexibility during pregnancy because, as I'm sure you know, our hormones are going crazy during pregnancy. We're releasing all the relaxin and it's coursing through our body and it's making our joints looser and looser. Our ligaments and our muscles are all getting more and more relaxed, ready for that birth. So my muscles just went way past relaxed. And kind of really overstretched, which is what caused me so many problems. So PGP is different for everybody. For some people the pain is in the back, for some people it's around the front of the pelvis. Pelvic girdle pain is quite a broad term. The pelvis is a really big part of the body. Some people find the pain is sort of sitting more in their hips. For some people it can be quite sciatic type of pain going down from the back through to the legs. So we're all totally different. My pain specifically was kind of here in the front, all around the groin, the fronts of the hips, through my hip flexors. And what my physio explained to me was that the weight of my bump in the front, because my bump was quite a low one, was forcing my pelvis to tilt forwards. And that was causing the ligaments that hold the two sides of my pelvis together to stretch and open at the front And what that also caused was just a tightness in the back. So my pelvic joints at the back were kind of getting closer together than was natural, and that was causing pain as well. So I had this awful stretch pain in the front. I had it down through my hip flexors and a tightness in my back as well. To the point where, sadly, by about 7 and 8 months, I was walking around on crutches to help, and sometimes even in a wheelchair. I borrowed my nan's mobility chair to get around. I laugh now, but it was not fun at the time. And there were a couple of parts of it that were just horrible. So like, you spend all day when you're pregnant just looking forward to going to bed, to be honest, because it's really tiring. I mean, some people love pregnancy and just breeze through it, but I was one of the tired pregnant women. And then as soon as you get in bed with PGP, it's really painful. Lying on your back hurts, moving from side to back or side again really, really hurts, especially if you're moving over on your back. And kind of just moving generally in your sleep tends to wake you up because of the pain. So it's not very restful having PGP. So I'm going to show you a couple of tips, basic things that my physio told me to do. And then I'm going to show you some of the exercises that he gave me, which really did help. So in terms of being in bed and lying down, the main thing he told me to do, which really, really helped when I wanted to turn over, was to turn under. So if you are on your back or your side, if you have PGP, don't follow me. I'll just demonstrate. There's no point in trying this until you get to bed. Keep the knees together. So don't let them fall apart. It really helps. As you turn gently on to your side and still keeping those knees together, use your arms to lever yourself up, and this is the hard bit. You're still trying to keep the knees together, and gently swing them underneath you. And you want to do that when either you're trying to get up or turn over to the other side. I just found that really, really helped me. And then one of the main things that he kind of explained was, because I had a lot of tightness in my back and overstretching at my front from my PGP, was to slouch. So either sitting or standing, just to stand feet hip width, a little release and bend in the knees, and then just kind of a really gentle but high ragdoll. So let the hands just hang and let the head just naturally hang, no tension in the shoulders, neck or head. And you'll just start to feel a really nice release through the lower spine there. Obviously, we can't bend too much further over because there's a big bump there anyway. But I used to hold this for about 20 seconds as many times a day as I could. And I used to find that afterwards it was quite amazing in terms of relief. The same applies to sitting. So to start with, when I had my PGP, I was doing, my admin work at my desk and things, and I was sitting up quite tall because I was thinking, I need to protect my posture here. There's a bump here. I don't want to put too much tension through my upper body. And my physiotherapist was like, no, exact opposite, just slouch. So you can really slouch into the base of the spine. You can let everything fall and slouch and kind of over and forwards, and it's just so much nicer for the whole pelvis when you're pregnant. Again, we're all built differently, so what I found as well was actually just popping a book or two underneath my feet, lifted my knees slightly off and allowed me to take that little back slouchy stretch slightly deeper, which was really, really nice. So some other strange things that I did was one, to use resistance bands to help me get around. Back again. So I'm going to demonstrate here with quite thin looped bands, but I was actually using thick resistance bands, long ones, which people call TheraBands. And so one of the things I really struggled with was just lifting my legs. it made walking really hard, which is why the crutches helped, because it allowed me to take a lot of the pressure through my upper body instead of my lower body. But lifting legs in terms of like getting out the shower and trying to dry my feet or put socks or underwear on, I just had to sit down and like slide them under my foot. And of course, because lifting legs was hard, getting upstairs was like torturous. It really put loads and loads of pain through my hip flexors, which I think was probably my iliopsoas muscles, which start in the back, connect to the spine and come round through the hips down into the fronts of the legs. So obviously all of that tightness in the back of my pelvis was just causing havoc with those really big, important muscles. So I would put a resistance band under each leg, and I would lift my legs up the stairs, if that makes sense. So I would literally use my arms to help aid the lift of my legs. And of course I was still like using the muscles a little bit, but it just took a little bit of the pressure off, and I did find that it helped. All the while I kept hunching as well. And I even took my resistance bands to my midwife appointment because the lift was out of service in the building, and they thought I was mad. I really don't think they believed I was in as much pain as I said I was. And I'm not a person with a particularly low pain threshold. So, okay, let's get on to the exercises that the physio gave me then. So, the first one is probably my favourite actually, and the one that I found I got most benefit from was just a simple sit to stand exercise. So sitting on the edge of a chair, feet flat on the floor, and then just hunching. So you can pop your hands either between your legs or out to the side, but you just really want to let your arms and your hands flop and your head, and then just keeping that hunch. No strength through the core or the back at all. You're just going to stand up and sit down. 10 to 20 times at your own pace. There's no benefit to doing this fast, so it can be as slow as it needs to be. This I just found really helped to strengthen all of the right muscles. So we're working the hamstrings here, down through the bottom and the back of the legs. We're working the quads and the fronts of the legs. And we're not putting too much pressure elsewhere in the body. And really, if this isn't causing you any pain, you want to just try and do this as many times a day as possible, because the more we can strengthen those muscles, the more we'll be helping to minimize that PGP as we go a little bit further through the pregnancy. Okay, 10 to 20 times, as many times a day as you can. So now we're going to come onto the floor. Of course, this is where it gets really difficult if you are suffering from PGP. I'll try and move slowly, but you might want to just be pausing the video as you go, or maybe have a little watch first, just make some notes, and then go away and do these exercises in your own time, because trying to move between positions, I totally understand, is one of the hardest bits of exercising with PGP. Okay, so we're going to come down onto the floor. Of course, if you're pregnant, the easiest way to do it is to bring yourself down onto hands and knees. And the first one, while we're down here, is we're going to come into a little tabletop position. And we're going to take a nice, gentle cat to neutral cow. So our cat, if I just tuck myself in here so you can see what's going on a little bit more through my waist, is we just gently curve the spine and we let the head drop. We're stretching through the shoulders into the upper back. We've got an equal amount of weight between our hands and our knees, and our toes are relaxed behind us. Then we're going to come to a neutral position, And just gently, slightly lifting the chin so the head is more in line with the spine now. And then back to our cat stretch. And then coming to what we call a neutral cow. So we're not going to take a full cow. We don't need to arch the spine in the opposite direction. We've got a big bump there. We don't want to hurt our back. So nice and neutral. And then probably just 4 to 6 of these. And just think about gently engaging the tummy muscles as you pull in for the cat stretch. And keeping them engaged even though we're coming back to that neutral position. Okay, taking our time. Gently does it. Good. While we're here, it was recommended that if I could, I should take a bird dog. I actually found it too hard. It was a little bit too painful for me, but I think if I'd done them earlier on, I probably would have benefited from these. So, opposite leg, and we're trying to keep our hips nice and level and equal weight through the hand and the knee that are still connected with the floor, and bringing in. And then we take with the other hand, other foot lifted off, head is in line with spine. It's quite a tough exercise. It's a nice Pilates and yoga exercise. It works the core really, really well. So if you want to take adaptions, you might like to try just hand and foot extending, but still staying in contact with the floor. We're still working on keeping the hips level, equal weight between the hand and the knee, and the eye line down and bringing in. You'll still feel those abdominal muscles really firing. It's a really good exercise. Actually uses lots of muscles because we're really working to hold the stability as we go. Or you might like to take just the arm or just the leg. So perhaps we keep 3 points connected with the floor and we lift an arm off, a little hold for maybe 2 or 4 seconds, and then changing over. And then just a leg if you feel that you can take that with control and no pain. And then another leg if you feel that your body is happy with that. So I'm just going to take 4 full bird dogs. If you want to take adaptions, then please just make sure you listen to your body. All right, so here we go. Opposite arm, opposite leg, keeping them either connected or lifting off. 4, 3, 2, 1, and gently bringing everything in and changing over. Staying connected or lifting off. 4, 3, 2, 1, and in we come. Let's take one more on each side. If you just did arms, now you'd be moving on to legs. 4, 3, 2, 1, and in. And 4, 3, 2, 1. In we come. Of course, a lovely stretch, if your bump allows for it, is to open the knees a little bit further apart and then just gently push back to a child's pose. So of course, when you haven't got a bump, you can drop it all the way down, but with a bump, I found it really nice just to gently release into the lower back and just let the head and neck relax with the hands on the floor. It's not comfortable for everybody, so just see how that feels. Good. We're going to move on to our sides next. So just be really careful. Keep those knees together as you rotate gently and lower your bottom to the floor. Now, top secret admission, I used to do these in bed. So we're going to keep our knees bent One leg is stacked on top of the other. You can rest your head in your hand, or you can take it all the way down onto your arm. I obviously used to have mine on my pillow. And we're going to take a little clam. So a full clam is a lift of the top knee. We're squeezing the glute here. So we're really isolating this glute muscle, which is lovely. The gluteus maximus, it works the gluteus medius a little bit as well, which is our hip strength. It works the hamstring a bit too. And then we squeeze it closed. I couldn't do that. That was too painful for me. So my physio advised that I just squeeze without really lifting. My knee maybe comes off like a centimetre or two, and then I just release. That's all I could do without forcing too much pain through my hips and my pelvis. So let's take 10, either with a full or no lift and just a squeeze. We've got 1, and gently down, 2, 3, good, 4, 5, 6, 7, stop if you need to rest, if you've had enough, 8, 9, and 10. Well done. So a nice stretch is to just gently bring the knee in a little bit. You won't be able to bring it straight into the chest because of the bump, so you want to probably just take it slightly out. And this is another one that's really nice for releasing the lower back. So if you find that your PGP is similar to mine and you've got real tightness in the back and pain at the front, then holding this stretch will really help. Good. You probably want to hold for 15 seconds, something like that, and then rest and relax. While we're here on our side, I'm going to show you a resisted stretch. You can do the same on your back, which I'll show you quickly, but this is another one for strengthening the hamstring, which is really going to help take the pain away from the pelvis. So you're going to bring that knee back in. You don't have to stretch it all the way. You're holding onto it with the hand, and then you're going to push the leg into the hand as you pull your hand in towards the leg. So you're sort of resisting, you're like fighting against it. 10 seconds we're pushing for, as long as it doesn't hurt. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then just gently release. You can keep holding it here, or you can even just lower it down for a complete rest. It's nice if you can stretch out of it slightly. And then that one, you kind of want to do as many times as you can. So I used to find I could only do it once or twice before it would start to hurt. But you might find that you can do it 3, 4 times. You just push, 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 and then release. It's such a simple exercise, really, really driving strength into that hamstring. I mean, people should do it when they're not pregnant too. You can do the same on your back. So if you are somebody who prefers to be on your back, as long as you don't mind being there for just a few seconds, then you can just pull one knee in. You're pushing the knee up against the hands, and hands are pulling in. So you've got loads and loads of resistance here. Resist, 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 resist. About 10 seconds, and then just release and relax everything. Good. Okay, let's take our clam openers on the other side. So you might want to turn under. I'll shimmy around to the other end so you can still see me from the front. Good. So knees bent, one leg on top of the other, head in hand or down on your pillow or your arm, wherever's comfortable for you. And we're just going to take our 10 clam openers, or just a little glute squeeze, no knee lift. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, good, 6, control it down as well as up, 7, 8, doesn't have to be high as long as you feel that muscle working, 9, and last one, 10. Good, just gently bring that knee in for a little stretch if it feels comfortable. These little stretches, just do them whenever you can. So try and do them before you fall asleep. Try and do them when you wake up in the morning. Just try and do them if you get a minute. If you're even on the sofa. I used to do them. While we're here, if you want to, just join me for a little resisted push. So we're going to push against the hand. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. As I said, as many rounds of that as you feel comfortable with. Well done, and relax everything down. Great. So there's one exercise that I was given that is on the back. So if you're happy to be on your back, it's not for everybody during pregnancy. Just gently roll yourself onto your back. Carefully does it. We're going to keep the knees bent. And we're going to bring the feet to about hip width. We're just going to take a really tiny glute bridge here. So you can keep your hands on the floor, just down by your hips. And all we're going to do is take a squeeze. We just lift a couple of inches off, and then we're rolling down through the base of the spine. So you don't need to come up into a really big glute bridge. We're just isolating those muscles, so the hamstrings here that we can find right in the crease of the bottom, and then rolling down gently. Good. Make sure your shoulders are connected with the floor. We're relaxed in the upper body, and we're driving energy down through both feet equally. And we want to take probably, if we can, 10 to 20 of these, making sure we roll down through the spine every time. So we're up and rolling down. Good. Up. Little squeeze and rolling down. Let's take 5 more. Lift and rolling down. If you find that the lift hurts, just squeeze. You don't need to even come off the floor. Or you might just find that you lift maybe like a centimetre before you roll it gently back down. So just adapt this however you need to. Good. 2 more. 2. And roll down. And 1. And roll it down. Good. Well done. If you're happy to stretch here, you can just bring one knee gently in towards the shoulder or chest. Good. And then change legs. Other knee gently in. Really nice. So the last exercise that I want to share with you today is a standing exercise. It's a mini squat. So just take your time to bring yourself up to standing. If you're really suffering, make sure that you roll onto your side, knees together, and then try and keep those knees together as you roll yourself up through the spine carefully. Good. When you get to the top, I'm just going to show you a mini standing squat exercise. So feet are about hip width. We're just going to pop our arms out in front of us, palms facing down. We do lift the pelvic floor and the tummy as we take our squats, even though we've got a little bump in front of us, or a big bump maybe. But it's just a mini squat. We just down and up. So you're not taking a big gym squat. I don't want to see any damage to knees. I certainly don't want us to push too hard through any of these muscles around the pelvis. So just keeping lifted, chest stays open and chin up, eye line forward. We're just gently squat down and up. That's it. So we just do as many of these as we can, maybe 10. If you could do 20, that would be really good. But we're just working those leg muscles as well as the hamstrings. Good. To make sure that we're strengthening everything else so that we can take some of the work away from those muscles that are really hurting right now. Good. Let's do 5 more. Keeping the tummy in. Pull the shoulders back gently. Good. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Well done. And then give yourself a little hunch. A little release in the knees. Just let the hands hang. Stretch out that lower back. And bring yourself up to standing. Good. So I really hope that helped. As you can see, having given birth 18 months ago, I'm kind of okay now. I have to confess, I am one of the unlucky few who does still suffer with some pain. So if I find that I don't do physio exercises, I now do strengthening exercises with either kettlebells or weights to try and really keep all of these muscles super strong. But I do find that when I don't do them, or if I carry my little one, she's really heavy now, in an awkward way, or even if I sleep in a strange way, sometimes I still do suffer with a little bit of pain through my hip flexors. Sometimes if I overstretch, I do feel it in my pelvic ligament. So I do have to be really careful. But I have since found out that it takes a really, really long time for your pregnancy hormones to completely settle back down to non-pregnancy normal. So I think I'm kind of coming out of the other side of it now. But most people, I have it on authority, once they've given birth, are completely pain-free and everything is absolutely fine. And as I said, pretty much once my waters are broken, the pain was almost completely gone. So it was quite unbelievable. And I was super worried about the birth. I didn't have a C-section. I had a vaginal birth and I was petrified. In fact, I'd asked for a C-section because the PGP was so bad and everyone had said like, no, you don't need it, it'll be fine. And I have to say it was. So hopefully, whichever way you're choosing to give birth, it will go really well. I wish you the best of luck and I hope to see you again soon, either here on YouTube or over one of our online Ballet Fusion fitness classes. And if you like what I'm wearing today, I am wearing our Ballet Fusion leggings, which are gorgeous. There's our little logo on the back here. And this is our tie back tank. So it doesn't completely tie, doesn't have to tie. It just hangs really nice and loose. It's got a little mesh back and it's really, really nice for maternity wear because this little slit at the back gives you all the room you need at the front. And of course, it's lovely. It's perfect if you're not pregnant as well, like me right now. Take care and I'll see you soon.